I just accidentally dropped a apple peel my son left on the table on the floor. Get that in a minute. Anyway, we have a grocery order coming. And it was supposed to be here by 9 at night, which was kind of a stretch. That was pushing my bedtime. And then something glitched out with the grocery order, and then now it's not coming till 11:15. And I tried to cancel it and stuff, reschedule it, and the lady's already shopping, so that's super late. So we have time to kill. Anyway, thought we would read this devotional. I don't even think they're called devotionals, whatever they're called in the Bible, the pages that are in the study Bible that are not actually the Bible itself, but somebody wrote it. This one is called Light Keepers. It says read John 1:1 through 18. I'm so tired. I cannot stay up late. I can't even see this without my glasses. All right, let's read. Let's focus. Gurnett Point Light in Plymouth, Massachusetts is distinct from any other lighthouse in the United States. It is associated with Hannah Thomas, the first female lighthouse keeper in America. When Hannah's husband went off to fight in the war for independence, Hannah remained behind to keep the great lamp burning to guide ships out at sea. In spiritual terms, women have been keepers of the light for centuries. Agnes of Rome was martyred for refusing to sacrifice to pagan gods. Gladys Aylward was a missionary to China who shared the gospel in villages and prisons and among lepers. Rose Lathrop, daughter of Nathaniel Hawthorne, established homes in the late 1800s for young women suffering from cancer. Like John the Baptist, these women directed and guided others toward the true light that came into the world, Jesus. Have you ever watched the sun reflecting off prisms hanging from a crystal chandelier? The prisms themselves are not the light. They merely reflect the light produced by the chandelier, yet they are capable of throwing hundreds of sparkling rainbows throughout a room. I actually have those hanging from my windows. So we oftentimes will have like rainbows scattered throughout the house from these prisms. In his book, Desiring God, John Piper wrote, "We were made to be prisms refracting the light of God's glory into all of life. Why God should want to give us a share in shining with his glory, called Shekinah, is a great mystery. Call it grace or mercy or love, it is an unspeakable wonder. To reflect the light of God's presence in a dark and damaged world, we have to stay close to the source, the sun. The more we let his light shine into our eyes and reflect into the eyes of others, the more we become like him. And we all who, with unveiled faces, contemplate the Lord's glory are being transformed into his image with ever-increasing glory, which comes from the Lord who is the Spirit." 2 Corinthians 3:18. Let's be keepers of God's light, ensuring that the light of his love burns brightly. We can also reflect that light into the lives of others. It only takes a small beacon of light to dispel the darkness. I had a supervisor once at work, and his like tagline at the end of his emails, he always wrote something like, "If one choice comes your way today, choose to be a bringer of the light." And I always liked that. I was like, that's so sweet to like, make the choice to be a bringer of the light. So anyway, Read John 1:1 through 18. We have time to kill because the groceries are gonna come late. So maybe we should actually read that today. John 1:1 through 1:18. 1:1 through 1:18. Let's read. John. The Word became flesh. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. He came as a witness to testify concerning that light, so that through him all might believe. He himself was not the light. He came only as a witness to the light. That's John the Baptist. The true light that gives light to everyone was coming into the world. He was in the world, and through the world. Wait. I can't. I need my glasses. He was in the world, and through the world was. Oh, no. Though. It's not an R there. Hold on. Let's start over. I should have grabbed my glasses before I started, but. Okay. The true light that gives light to everyone was coming into the world. He was in the world, and though the world was made through him, the world did not recognize him. He came to that which was his own, but his own did not receive him. Yet to all who did receive him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God, children born not of natural descent, nor of human decision, or a husband's will, but born of God. The Word became flesh. So that's Jesus, just in case anyone's not following. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. John testified concerning him. He cried out, saying, "This is the one I spoke about when I said, 'He who comes after me has surpassed me because he was before me.' Out of his fullness we have all received grace in place of grace already given. For the law was given through Moses. Grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. No one has ever seen God, but the one and only Son, who is himself God, and is in closest relationship with the Father, has made him known." Should we read the beginning part? Let's read the beginning part. This is the part that talks about John. John's gospel stands out from the other three, shedding new light on what has by now become a familiar story. There are fewer parables, fewer instances of Jesus' public speaking, and fewer miracles, but there are more conversations, more personal encounters, and more interactions among the disciples. It is John who records Jesus' 7 I am statements that give us tangible descriptions of who this Son of God is. Nearly half of John's gospel is devoted to the final week of Jesus' life. John is the only disciple who followed Jesus all the way to the cross, and as we look through his eyes, we feel his shock and deep grief. But we also experience something else, something that so overwhelmed John, he incorporated it into how he described himself even years later when he wrote his gospel. We experience love. John always referred to himself as the disciple whom Jesus loved, as though the concept still left him slack-jawed with awe. As we follow John's footsteps, listening to Jesus, witnessing his death, and rejoicing at his resurrection, we experience that awe for ourselves, for we realize that we too are the disciples whom Jesus loves. That's awesome. Alrighty, well, maybe we'll do another video. Maybe we'll go back to the words of wisdom or whatever we were reading. Oh yeah, the sayings of the wise. That's what it was. The sayings of the wise. Anyway, have a good night.